Hi, my name is Dhwani, and today I will be presenting on the topic The Two Indias, Wealth Inequality and the Road to Equity. India is one of the fastest growing economies in the world, yet this growth has not been evenly distributed. A significant divide exists between different sections of society, making wealth inequality one of the most pressing challenges facing the country today. This presentation aims to highlight the extent of this inequality, understand its underlying causes, and discuss potential solutions. To understand the severity of wealth inequality in India, it is important to look at the data. India is currently among the most unequal countries in the world in terms of wealth distribution. The top 1% of the population holds approximately 40.1% of the nation's wealth, while the top 10% controls nearly 77%. In stark contrast, the bottom 50% of the population only owns about 2.8% of the total wealth. These figures clearly indicate that wealth in India is highly concentrated within a small segment of the population, leaving a majority of with very limited economic resources. In recent years, India has witnessed a rapid rise in the number of billionaires. Since the year 2000, the number of billionaires has increased significantly, reaching to over 160 individuals in 2024. The combined wealth of these billionaires is estimated to be around 675 billion US dollars. Furthermore, the wealth held by just the top 5 billionaires is comparable to the annual income of nearly 700 million individuals Indians. This trend highlights how wealth accumulation at the top has accelerated, further widening the gap between the rich and the rest of the population. The concept of two Indias reflects the stark contrast in living conditions and the opportunities across different sections of society. On one hand, the top 1% enjoys extremely high levels of wealth with access to quality education, healthcare, and investment opportunities that allow their wealth to grow further. On the other hand, the bottom 50% struggles with low income, limited access to basic services, and income insecurity. A large proportion of the population continues to depend on government support for basic necessities, and many still live in conditions of poverty. This contrast effectively creates two parallel economies within the same country. The widening inequality in India can be attributed to several structural factors. Firstly, there's a growing gap between returns on capital and income from labor. Those who own assets such as property and financial investments are able to accumulate wealth much faster than those who rely solely on wages. Secondly, the tax system tends to be regressive in nature, placing a relatively higher burden on lower income groups. Thirdly, the unequal access to education limits upward mobility for a large section of the population. Finally, wealth concentration is reinforced through inheritance and existing social economic networks, which allow wealth to maintain within a limited group over generations. Wealth inequality in India has evolved over time. During the colonial period, inequality was already high due to exploitative economic structures. After independence, certain policy measures helped reduce inequality to some extent. However, following the economic liberalization of 1991, inequality began to rise again as the benefits of economic growth were not evenly distributed. Today, the share of income going to the top 1% has reached historically high levels, indicating a significant increase in inequality over the past few decades. Addressing wealth inequality requires a combination of short term and long term policy interventions. In short term, targeted welfare programs and employment generation initiatives can help support vulnerable sections of the society. In medium term, reforms in taxation, improved access to affordable housing, and expansion of social security systems can contribute to a more balanced distribution of wealth. In the long term, structural changes such as investments in education, healthcare, and inclusive economic policies are essential to ensure sustainable and equitable growth. In conclusion, while India has made remarkable progress in terms of economic growth, the benefits of this growth have not been shared equally. Extreme levels of wealth inequality not only affect social justice but also pose risks to long term economic stability and development. Therefore, it is essential for policymakers to focus on inclusive growth strategies that ensure broader perception and participation in the country's economic progress. Only by addressing inequality can India achieve truly sustainable and equitable development. Thank you.